Hi everybody. I thought, Dave and I thought we'd do a reshoot on the garden we put in, I think it was late July. This one was done in mid-August of last year. So actually it's 1 year old, but it's filled in well. It'll be filling in tighter next year. And also this, in about 2 to 3 weeks, 3 weeks from now, we'll do some editing. I call it that little knob, oh, you know, on the old TV, you had a tuning knob on your, well, you probably still got some tuning knobs. So we're gonna do some fine tuning, and I'll show you where we're gonna take out and put it in its place. But you don't really see it till you see the big picture. Once you see the big picture, you see what to take out, enhance, and add. And that's called gardening, and that's called the joy of gardening, not labor. If you define anything as labor, that means you don't like doing it, so you'd rather do something else. So do that something else and leave the gardening up to the people that are joyfully doing it. And pay them well, because they're making something healthy and beautiful for you. So in here we've got a combination of, this is a Veronica Lightsaber. It came from Walter's Gardens. It has a beautiful vertical look. It's tall, it's about 24 inches tall, and it mixes so well with Sporobolus airoides as we drifted through. And I put in some annual zinnias, some annual single-flowered white zinnias through here, and they really accented the Sporobolus airoides nicely. So let's walk along. Got Amsonia Butterscotch, which is not near maturity. It'll probably be another, oh, maybe 6 to 10 inches higher, but it'll be much denser next year. Molinia transparent, mixed with Veronicastrum, virginicum, and some Phlox called Dixter. And that's going to be hard to find, but you can put in some other Phlox. So it could be blue Pradise would work nice. And then Salvia, Wesuwe, Calamintha, nepeta subspecies, nepeta, Coreopsis Zagreb, Eupatorium milk and cookies, a little bit of Persicaria Firetail. So you start to see the staggered groupings or staggered clumps through here. And these are plants you can easily get, because a lot of times it's not, how can I do a better garden by using plants that are new? It's not about new. It's about old plants used in new ways. So it's all about composition. And the key to good composition is knowledge of plants. So as you gain knowledge and awareness of plants, they become closer and closer friends to you with better relationships. And you start with groups, because the groups are easily identified. One group here, another group, then accent with some Molinia transparent, as I did here. A group of Kalimeris Daisy Mae, a group of Monarda bradburyiana, but then I mixed a few Daisy Mae with the Monarda bradburyiana, and then a small group of Perovskia, Little Spire mixed with Liatris spicata, and a few Sanguisorbas mixed in. There's my last transparent, tapering down to Stakey's Summer Crush, another group of Amsonia Butterscotch, pick up the Sporobolus airoides, nepeta, anemone, Honorine Jobert, Wesuwe in the back, Liatris through the anemone. We had Liatris up there with the Perovskia, and that continues all the way through. More Sporobolus airoides with the annual zinnia, the beautiful white single-flowered zinnia. More Lightsaber, Veronica Lightsaber. Picked up another group of Eupatorium milk and cookies. And what I'm going to do, this is the field adjustment. I'm taking out one of the milk and cookies. See, I have too much. It looks like to be too much. I'm just taking one out, and I'll put in another layer of something. I'm not quite sure what, but I need another layer of color that'll step down below the Eupatorium. Here, Daisy Mae mixed with Lightsaber. So I carry the Lightsaber all the way through, weaving it through the Sporobolus into the Daisy Mae, but I have to take out a Daisy Mae here, make this a larger group of Lightsaber, and I'm going to take out a Daisy Mae here and add some Lightsaber here. Then I have a hole in the back where it looks like one of the Phlox died, but I'm not really sure. But I'm just going to put in another Phlox next to it. It might be it just dried out. It has buds set for next year though. About this time of year, late August, the buds are set for next year. So it could be okay. And I mixed in one Vernonia lettermani in the back and picked up the transparent along the wall. And then some penstemon dark towers right here. And kind of repeat here. Here's the Phlox Dixter, Monarda. I picked up a new element on this side. We have crystal blue Salvia mixed with Allium Summer Beauty. Aster Twilight, little moments of Calamintha, not a lot, just a little bit to pick up what's on the other side. And then new patterns start. So I have to replace 5 Salvia Crystal Blue. For some reason didn't make it here. So we got to put 5 in. Coreopsis Zagreb picks up with the Allium Summer Beauty. Allium Summer Beauty mixed with the Salvia, so you stretch out the Allium Summer Beauty between 2 patterns. Here's the Penstemon Dark Towers, and we pick up Helenium here with Persicaria Firetail, another group of Eupatorium, and in here is where we're going to have to make some changes because the water, it was a little too wet here. So the salvias are doing good, but I think I need to fix this and put in something that'll take more dampness. And we had that same problem here, and I put in a Stilby Vision in Red with the Monarda Bradburyana. That was actually did pretty good. So we'll see how the Vision in Red does. But it's an area that the water came in and settled in this front area. So again, we'll have to watch that and see what plants we can put in if these don't do well to adapt to those conditions. So it's not a lot, as you can see, but you have to keep your eye on it and keep your awareness of what's happening. Stakey Summer Crush, another Persicaria, Dark Towers, two columns, 2 groups of Agastache nepetoides with the Calamagrostis caroforcer. And to keep the Agastache nepetoides low, I pruned it in June, mid to late June. I just cut off about 18 inches of the plant, kept it shorter, so instead of being up to the top of the juniper, it blooms about 2.5 feet less than it would have if I didn't prune it. And ends with the caroforcer. And here's something they missed when they were weeding. And they missed it because they didn't know. This is a Origeron. This is actually a native. And don't get offended, I'm pulling it out. It's a native reseeding annual. There it is. And it kind of looked like it might fit in, but yet it would have continued to seed and seed all over, giving us more weeding to do. So there's a place for this, but it's just not here. And I understand it's native, but I don't know if there's a lot of native restoration people actually seeding in this Origeron. It'll come in on its own, and it can be effective in the native landscape. Okay, so that covered that bed, and I think it's turning out well. You can see we do have some field adjustments. We do have some issues with soil moisture we have to look at. So all in all, we have to keep an eye on it. And that's okay, because that's what gardening is. It's like your children. When your children are young, you keep an eye on them. You don't have to watch them all the time, but you have to keep an eye on them. As they mature, get older, they can actually cross Cermak Road on their bike, go to Dairy Queen without you being there, but still you're checking on how they're doing and how their life is going. And that's what we do as the gardening. These are all children. All right, let's go look at the other bed down below. Well, we're working our way down to the lower level. This was one we put in first. This was about last week of July of last year. And we've had some good results, quick results, but we do have some gardening to do, like I mentioned at the other one. I'll point that out as I walk along. But I'm really excited about Phlox Dixter. So you could start asking your garden center, why in the world aren't you growing Phlox Dixter? And they'll search and try to find it, and eventually it'll come into the trade when there's more demand for it. But it really looks good, and it's been blooming for quite a while. And I have it mixed with Molinia transparent, really nice floating through the transparent with some Veronicastrum in the back. Little moments of nepeta or Calamintha nepetoides, nepeta. And nepeta is the sterile one. Let me give you a little clue here. When you look for the sterile one, the one that doesn't seed everywhere or really seed at all, the leaves are glossy. They're not pubescent, they're not hairy. If you get a nepeta, a Calamintha nepeta, I'm sorry, I don't want to confuse you. This is Calamintha nepeta, subspecies nepeta. If you get Calamintha nepeta and the leaves are pubescent and hairy, they're going to seed around. Calamintha nepeta, subspecies nepeta, is sterile. So it goes wherever you put it. flowers into October. The flowers turn powdery blue as the weather cools. So let's move on down, but remember, a shiny, glossy leaf. So have anemone pamina here with the Eupatorium milk and cookies. We're going to take one of these out like we did up on top, and we're going to put in another element in here to bring some color in. Here's some people walking the lake path, which is too good. Hi everybody. And oh, thank you. Thanks. And then we'll add another element to this component that'll play off the Coreopsis Zagreb and the Amsonia Butterscotch. So again, that's gardening. That's editing and taking something out and putting something in. And I like that. That's very exciting to do. And here we have what we have up top, Veronica Lightsaber with Sporobolus airoides, which is shining right now. And I'm going to take a few of these out and add a few more Lightsaber. You see, these two are hidden in here, so I'll take one of these out and put another Lightsaber in. We'll do that up front too. So we'll take 1, 2 grasses out, put in some Lightsaber. We go into Monarda Bradburyana with some in the front here. I've got 2 holes here, so you know what? I think I'll put something else in those holes to play off of what we have here. I'm not quite sure what, but I think that's okay. You don't have to know everything right away. I'll just take a picture of it, and this evening, as I'm watching the sun go down with half a glass of wine, I don't want to get into too much wine. As I watch the sun go down and the clouds change, and it might stir me to come up with a nice solution for this. And here's the Sanguisorba mixed with this is officinalis, mixed with Sanguisorba tenuifolia. Look how nice the white and the red mingle together. I think that's a very nice impressionistic moment. This is Geranium Soboliferum, and we have a repeat of Provskia in a bigger context with Echinacea alba going between it. Now I have too much Stakey Summer Crush, so what I'm going to do is take out this part right here, take that out. I'm going to take some of the Kalimeris and group them together and add another grouping of something right here next to the Provskia. And it could be I might carry the white coneflower through with another element also. So I'd have the white coneflower drifting through and maybe put something else with that other than Provskia. Here's Agastache Blue Fortune, really rocking right now. And it's mixed with Scutellaria incana. And again, the Scutellaria incana, it's not Scutellaria, I'm sorry, let me get that right. This is Pycnanthemum incanum. And it spreads, but not quite as fast as the other Pycnanthemums, tenuifolium and tenuifolium and virginiana. It has a nice white look to the, I don't know what they're called. They're not called sepals, but that lower foliage has a nice white look and the rest of the plant's green. And I prune that in late June to keep it a little shorter. That gives way to more Sporobolus with the beautiful zinnias, annual zinnias mixed in. And you can look in this whole bed, we've probably put 34-inch annuals in this whole bed. But do you see how nicely they accent the bed? So we're going to keep working some annuals in, but the annuals have to fit the style of the bed, or the style of the planting. We've got some Astroladian black back there, contrasting foliage with those small white flowers. There's more of the Pycnanthemum incanum. And I prune the Agastache nepetoides, prune that. Oh, hold on, I caught myself again. That's Agastache funiculum alba. That's not nepetoid. Nepetoides is on the other side, it's taller, has more of a yellow tint to the flowers. So that's Agastache funiculum alba. That's grown from seed. You won't find that in many places because you can't patent it. And if you can't patent it, then someone's not making money. So you can grow this beautiful plant from seed, easy grow, and people say, oh, Roy, it seeds around. And my question would be, why do you let it do that? Just hoe it out. If it's seeding around, something's going to come up there. It could be a dandelion, it could be a chickweed. You determine where that plant seeds in. So just hoe it out, or you can put it in 3 to 4 years later when the competition is stronger. Add something that freely seeds 4 to 5 years later, and you'll have so much competition, it won't be able to seed that freely. So you do have choices. It's not just avoid a plant completely because it doesn't do what you want. That would leave you with about 4 plant choices for the rest of your life if you wanted plants to do what you want. And to be honest with you, plants don't care who you are, how much money you have, if you kiss your children goodnight, if you pet your dog. All plants want to do is have a good life. So I think once you understand who they are and you share life with them, you become such a healthy person, and you become joyful and have more fun as a gardener. And I had to learn that myself. I was doing the same thing. There was plants I didn't want to use because they were hard to grow, but then I just learned how to grow them so that I could be more successful with them. So everything is kind of doable. It's just how you put your time, effort, patience, and understanding into things, and joy. It's always about having fun. So let's walk to the other side. You'll see the same plants repeated here. Anemone pamina starts here at the corner, be a little taller. The Eupatorium milk and cookies, Coreopsis Zagreb, Aster twilight. Here's our Sporobolus repeated again. The white zinnia is going through it. We have in the back is Veronica. I have to increase the Veronicas the same way. Veronica Lightsaber. I'm going to take this out, put Veronica here. I'll take another one out and make that Veronica bigger. We have still be perfoliatum in the back, mixing with Perovskia, Little Spire, and True Blue Phlox, Phlox True Blue, mingling with the Perovskia. You can see it's an offset of the blue, kind of white blue mixed with the blue of the Perovskia. Monarda bradburyana. This is Stakey's Humilo mixed with some Stakey's Summer Crush. Rudbeckia in the back. That's just Rudbeckia fulgida ambrosia. Comes out of Missouri. It blooms later. As you can see, some of the blooms it just starts blooming a little later. Then we switch to Deschampsia gold towel with some Aster Lady in Black behind it. And that's the Agastache nepetoides. That was pruned. And there's some more Agastache nepetoides in that corner. And there's some, this is Eupatorium milk and cookies. So what I'm going to do is take out some milk and cookies in the corner. I want to make the Molinia transparent. Instead of one, I want to put 4 there for a bigger effect in front of the Deschampsia. Geranium soboliferum, Coreopsis Zagreb, a nice group of Allium Summer Beauty. And in there are clouds of Limonium latifolium. So I'm looking, I'd like to extend that Limonium latifolium, and I might take it towards that Rudbeckia. There's some Lady in Black in there, that'll be behind it. So I might take out a few Deschampsia and put in maybe a group of 6 more Limonium, because that cloud look is so nice. Even when it's done flowering, it has that soft texture. Here's more Geranium soboliferum, Amsonia Butterscotch. This is Stakey's Summer Crush from Brent at Intrinsic Gardens. Molinia Transparency. How cool that would be if I had a bigger group up there and maybe expand. Oh, there it is, up on top. I'll put another bigger group on top, maybe 2 more up there. And then the Echinacea alba. Here's more purpurcurs, but I mentioned Echinacea alba. It's screaming for something to run through it. So I've got to put something through there. I'm not quite sure what I'll do yet. I could be, I don't think I want to use more Perovskia. So I could have another element, something grass-like. I feel more comfortable with a grass coming through there. So we'll, again, that could be tonight when I'm watching the sun go down and the cloud patterns change. And that's just time to think. It's not time to overwhelm yourself with stuff that usually happens during the day, going from house to house to house, like we're doing. And then we end with Eupatorium purpureum. This is actually Little Joe, Eupatorium Little Joe, I believe. And that's the end of the garden. Here we get into the shade. I think it's for first year, it's really done well. So I'm very excited about it. And I like the fact that we have the opportunity to garden. We'll probably totally bring out about 40 plants, maybe, when you look at the volume of plants we use. So, and look at where I am. I'm staring at a lake that's 8 miles long with clear water, and we're just gardeners. So people actually pay us to come here to have the best time of our lives. And I think we earn it because we come with knowledge and we come with a sensitivity towards the plants. And again, we have fun. It's a good time. So thanks everybody, and ask some questions and we'll see what we get back to you.